Avoid these 5 terrible habits if you want to get longer hair much faster. My name is Angelica, aka Angie B. Let's get into it. So, the first habit you want to avoid is using too much shampoo. Now, I know that it is very easy to get tempted to use too much shampoo, and that is simply because when your hair feels so dirty and greasy and it's got so much buildup, you just want to get the dirt off as fast as possible, and so you may tend to use too much shampoo. Now, what you want to do is go all the way up to 3 washes or even 4, but most likely you're not going to have to get there. Go all the way up to 3 washes instead of using too much shampoo at once, okay? Because it's only going to lead you to using even more and more and more shampoo, and this is expensive and it can lead to a lot of dryness and damage because of applying too much shampoo. Okay, so how do you actually use less? First of all, I didn't know until recently that doing a double cleanse is not normal, that not everybody does it, but you want to aim for doing a double cleanse every single time you wash your hair, which means you shampoo your hair once to first get off the oil, the debris, any buildup on your hair, and then the second wash is to actually clean your hair. So the first time you want to use a good amount of shampoo, focus it in all the right areas, the top of your head, which is where you have the most hair, and then around the sides, the back, the front, lather that all together. And it's really not going to lather that much the first time, that's fine. As long as you give it a good working into, a good lather, wash it out. The second wash is where you're going to place the shampoo exactly the same way you placed it the first time, except this time you're going to use a little bit less shampoo because your hair is cleaner. It should lather up really, really well. But if it doesn't, what you're going to do is add just a little bit more shampoo before washing it out. And if it still doesn't lather enough, you're going to rinse that out and do one final third rinse. But usually the third rinse will not be necessary if you shampooed your hair the first time properly and you don't already have an excessive amount of products in your hair. What most people do is, because they'll say, okay, we have to do 2 washes, is they'll keep applying and applying and applying more shampoo to the hair shaft, to the ends, to everywhere, to try and get the hair to lather as much as possible. But your hair still won't be that clean, and all you're going to be left with is very dry, brittle hair that is very prone to breakage, meaning you're not going to get to your long hair goals fast enough. This one is like the opposite of the first point, and this is using too little conditioner, and especially in the right places. A lot of people use either the right amount of conditioner, but they're placing it in the wrong place, which is placing all the conditioner on your scalp and then running it down. Conditioner on your scalp actually doesn't do anything. Conditioner is for your hair. You always want to focus it on your hair shaft, starting with the ends and then working it upwards. Now, I am actually guilty of this as well, because sometimes you might see like, oh, my conditioner is running out and I don't want to use too much of it. I'm gonna like savor it. You'll actually end up using more of other products and like leave-in conditioners and oils and things you're going to be fighting to do to try and make your hair feel moisturized. What you want to do is actually use more conditioner than you think you need, especially in places where your hair feels drier than usual. You can easily get away with using too much conditioner because you're going to rinse it out. I would also suggest you may go in with a little bit more leave-in conditioner than you use, but this one is a little bit tricky because if it weighs your hair down, you're going to either have to wash your hair again or wait until your next wash day to fix the problem. So I say go ahead and use a little bit too much conditioner than you think you need, and then you can use the adequate amount of leave-in conditioner, and this makes a huge difference. I noticed that when I use more conditioner, more deep conditioner, my hair comes out so much softer and so much better, and I don't have to deal with adding more moisturizer or anything after my wash day to make it more moisturized. The third one seems obvious, but clearly it's not, and this is trimming your hair too often. Now, I'm one of those people who said I realized that I wasn't trimming my hair enough, so I actually had to trim it a little bit more often. But now I've reached the point where my hair is actually doing a little bit better, so I don't have to trim it more often. This is to say, if your hair has split ends and damage, you should trim them. If your hair does not have split ends and damage, do not trim them. I know a lot of stylists will say things like, come and trim your hair every 6 to 8 weeks. But if your hair has no split ends or damage, or very minimal split ends or damage after 6 to 8 weeks, you don't need to trim it. You may need to trim it after 16 weeks. You may have to trim it like, instead of every 3 months, you may need to trim it every 6 months because your hair simply doesn't need it. But if your hair does need it, please do go ahead and do the trim. It's just not necessary to overdo it because on average, most people's hair grows about a half an inch. Some people get a quarter of an inch. Some people are lucky enough and they get a full inch. But if you keep trimming it, you're just trimming off your growth. And sure, you will have a long you will have a healthy head of hair with no split ends, but it's going to stay the same length because you keep trimming off the hair that is growing. The next habit you need to avoid for long, healthy hair is using water that is too hot. It is very tempting to use steaming hot water because you know the steam, it feels like it's really moisturizing your hair, and you feel like the hot water is going to melt off all the oils and build up and just clean your hair so much faster, and you won't even need to use that much shampoo because the hot water will have melted it away. The thing is, the water can actually technically burn your hair. So you want the water to be hot enough, of course, to loosen up the grease and the grime and the dirt, but you don't want it to be hot enough to burn your hair, because if it makes your hair too hot, it can actually take out all the natural oils as well and really dry out your hair, and your hair may feel nice and soft while it's warm in the shower, but then when you get out it's going to just excessively get dry, and you don't want that. The fifth habit you need to avoid to get longer hair faster is one of those that it is very, very easy to overlook because we just don't think about it. And this is doing the same hairstyle all the time. It doesn't matter what the hairstyle is, whether it is very low manipulation, whether it is a protective style, whether it is just a fashion style. If you wear your hair in the exact same way every single day or multiple times a week for a very prolonged amount of time, you might start to develop something like traction alopecia. If, let's say, your hairstyle is a bun all the time, you may develop that inverted V. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Usually this happens to my mom a lot, but if you, let's say, tie your hair in the same way all the time, you tie your hair like this. Like for me, what I like to do is I like to tie my hair and fold it. So if I tie my hair like this and I wear it like this every single day, right here where that band is, it may cause repeated friction. Not that it's not loose or a low manipulation hairstyle, but if you're putting friction in the same exact place every single time, you may start to experience breakage, and that's why when you trim your hair, you have like a V going upwards, or the other way, an actual V going this way. Some people's hair just kind of grows in a V or a U shape, which is kind of how my hair grows, but you can lead to more damage in that kind of V shape if you style your hair in a way that affects the ends in that kind of way. So also this applies to people who wear traditional weaves. I am speaking from experience because I used to wear traditional weaves a lot, and this means you weave the hair into your head, but you also leave hair out on your hairline and on a part. So sometimes I do a middle part, sometimes I do a side part. I don't know if people still do the vixen sewing. I feel like it's coming back, but that's where you leave like 4 sections of your hair. So what happens is usually you're going to manipulate your hair in a certain way to match the texture of your wig or your weave. And so if, let's say, you have bone straight hair and you do like a side part, or you have like super curly hair which is not the exact curl pattern as yours, you're going to have to manipulate your hair every single time you wear it out, either by straightening it or adding like curlers or just using a hair gel or something in the same way every single time you style your hair, and you'll notice that you have breakage or damage in that specific section. So if you wear a weave for, let's say, a month, you may want to be changing up where you do the part, where you do the leave out. That's actually not necessarily a protective style, but you still want to protect your hair in whatever style you choose to wear. You don't have to wear protective styles, but if you're going for longer hair, I'm assuming you may gravitate towards those. So even though it seems protective, don't do the same style every single time because you may just end up with some random damage somewhere. If you'd like some ideas on good protective styles, you can check out this video right here or a playlist so you can see what styles might suit you better and a few more tips to help you get your hair longer. Hit my face right there to subscribe if you haven't in the beginning. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!